Good morning and happy Sunday from my back porch. I just want to address part of this comment from Hall and Shawn. And you can't see the rest of it, but what he says is that people are genetically predisposed to being healthy. And I want to make a little comment. Not little, actually. I'm going to explain some things about my own health journey and my genetics that make me believe that that's not true. So I grew up in an area in the Central Valley right next to orange orchards and a lot of other agricultural, but like literally the property that touched our property was orange orchards. And they spray for stuff all the time. And growing up in the valley, there were days where they would say like the air quality was bad and they would blame it on driving, but I don't think it had anything to do with driving. I think it had more to do with what they were spraying over crops to help save crops from pests. Growing up, I chronically had strep. I had joint injuries that were pretty severe, like dislocated my shoulder playing softball, dislocated both of my kneecaps, a traumatic time in a car accident, but then also again, like just walking down the steps on the front porch a few times, like not just once, but a few times. Had severe GI issues growing up and never really understood why. Fast forward, I went to PT school. Fast forward again, health coaching certification. Fast forward again, pregnant with twins, difficult pregnancy. I mean, I went on bed rest at week 10, delivered the boys just past 32 weeks, and then started having a ton more health issues. Inflammation, pain that was out of control, insomnia, like sleeping 2 hours a night kind of insomnia, a rash that covered like 2/3 of my body. And the only help anyone wanted to offer was pain medication, which I can't take. Like I had known for a while I couldn't take. My body didn't respond well to it at all, ever. Even like basic things that people take without even thinking about it, like Tylenol, Advil, Motrin, Excedrin. Can't take any of that. And then high-dose steroids. And quite frankly, I had seen what high-dose steroids did to my patients as a physical therapist, and there was no way I was doing that. Not to mention that the few times that I had like severe sinus infections that I couldn't clear on my own doing all the natural things, they put me on a steroid, and I didn't sleep for 3 to 4 weeks, period. Like not even 30 minutes. In all of this, also, during physical therapy school, I got diagnosed with cancer. And then diagnosed with cancer again when the boys were 5, a different type of cancer. So I started looking for real solutions because medications were never the answer for me, ever. They always only made me worse. So I find James Maskell, The Evolution of Medicine, the Institute for Functional Medicine, start going down this path of getting certified. And then in 2019, shut down my physical therapy clinic in order to go strictly into coaching, functional medicine, health coaching, after becoming certified in 2018. And then, of course, 2020 happens, and I have a great opportunity to start learning more things because my schedule dropped off by about 30%. And one of the things that happened out of 2020 was that different educational opportunities opened up to more providers. And one of the ones that opened up to physical therapists was the ability to get certified in epigenetics. And I took that certification, like without question. I was like, this is gonna help me understand me, so it'll help me understand my clients better. It'll help me know what I'm looking at and know what to ask next and how to support them better. Part of that certification is that they make you go through your own genetic testing. And they were going to review everyone's in the class, but the literal person in charge of clinical education for this company sends me an email and says, hey, do you mind if I go through your genetics with you before the class? To have an expert go through my genetics with me, you think I'm passing up on that? Absolutely not. So I get the report and we're going through it, and she's like, to be honest, I've never seen someone who, blood work wise, is as healthy as you are, who has genetics like this, ever. So we start going through it, and there are genes that help your body detox, and I have low functioning on most of those. And then I also have a gene deletion in 2 of those. So when you consider that, like, my body doesn't detox well, and I was exposed to pesticides and herbicides every single day of my life from pre-birth all the way through age 20 when I moved out of the Central Valley. Exposed to mold because we had a swamp cooler. In a video I posted the other day, literally grew up on like welfare and food stamps and government cheese, like Velveeta. It's not even cheese, it's literally like plastic and some food dye. I have low clearance of any kind of toxin, and I swam competitively in pools that had chlorine. Literally my whole life, still do it. I have an MTHFR mutation, an MTR, MTRR, a CBS, and a COMT mutation, which basically means that, like, yeah, all the things to do with methylation and all the things that people talk about and say, like, oh, methylated B vitamins will solve. First of all, it won't solve them all, and high dose B vitamins would make it way worse. But, like, I'm the case study for people who have trouble detoxing because detoxification genes don't work and MTHFR is slow. On top of that, I carry the genetics for breast cancer, estrogen dominant cancers, colon cancer, skin cancer, a whole bunch of like list of cancers that like you couldn't even believe. I carry the genetics for and have since been diagnosed with celiac. I carry the genetics for rapid aging, yet I'm 46 and look like this without makeup on. Obviously, I don't avoid the sun and I don't have sunscreen on right now. So by all rights, my genetic predisposition is to be riddled with cancer and illness. And yet, both times that I had a cancer diagnosis, completely healed it in a few weeks without chemo, without radiation, without medication. And I'm pretty disciplined, and I know what my environment is doing to me. So now I know some of the ways to combat it. And in fact, I just had a blood test done for a bunch of like environmental toxins. My heavy metals load is low, which is surprising given where I grew up and the fact that I grew up on well water. My PFAS is lower than 80% of the world. And the only thing that's high is glyphosate. So now I'm spending time really focusing on how do I detox glyphosate from my body because I know that's not good for me. And my sister had a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And since everyone thinks that we are twins when we are together, why did she develop non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and yet that's not one of the cancers that I had? Basically, all of this is to say that you can blame genetics for everything, and people do. But when you take responsibility and say, I know my body's capable of healing. I know that I can do this. I know that this is not what I signed up for. But I signed up to be healthy, vibrant, and amazing in this lifetime. You can do amazing things. So yes, movement every day plays a role, and what you choose to eat and drink on a daily basis plays a role. But you can also combat the genetics that you were given with the right plan in place. And I didn't even know how bad the genetics were until 2021 fully, like when I really started getting into more of the classes on genetics. So now that I know, I can be even more disciplined, but that doesn't mean that I always am. You have so much more control than you think you do. Don't say just because my genetics are bad, because you don't really know.